Hey everybody, we are live, Lunch with Legends. Little SCURTO's here today. You gotta be kidding me. He had the best rock and roll hair back in the day. We're gonna talk about that. Also, shout out to Hyper Bicycles. They're gonna be sponsoring the New Jersey BMX Hall of Fame coming here in spring of 2026. I will have my induction show, which is a hoot. Everybody loves it. I'll be going 805 bikes for that. So, I wanted to talk to you for a long time because look at that Pete Garski's on right now. If you go to Dirty Fest in 6, 7, 8 of this June coming up here in 2026, you got to hang out with him. Because the reason I go to Dirty Fest is definitely, he is a huge part of it. That's why I want to talk to him. But let's get to the show right now. Can't thank him enough for coming down. Will, you're the man. Let's do this. Welcome to the show, Will.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, check this out. All right, here we go. So, let's start with.
Do we need a warning? There may be fucking profanity or some shit.
No, let's just roll with it.
Okay,
so,
let's roll with it.
Let's go back to the first bike you ever had, whether it was a BMX bike or not. Tell us about it.
The very first bike that I can remember was a Schwinn Stingray, yellow,
Nice.
with a white banana seat.
No. And you just rip around the neighborhood.
And my dad got me one and my brother one.
Okay.
Well, my brother, he was 5 years younger, so my friends, we would snag his bike and take my bike, and then we would take off and roam the hills of Diamond Bar.
Okay.
And then one time, I left his bike in the cul-de-sac, and it got stolen. So I had to give him my Schwinn. Maybe a half a year later, then I got a Webco.
Nice.
43-pound, stock.
Yeah. So Webco was your first official BMX bike.
Yeah.
Where did you get your Webco from?
Oh, God, that's a good question. I think. I don't know if my dad had contacted Darwin, because my dad had a liquor store and a bar and a grill restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he knew this place called Ed Pratt Suzuki. But I think they had Suzuki bikes in there and stuff.
Wow.
And so my dad did the muscular dystrophy stuff, donated a lot of stuff. And so I don't know if he met Darwin and talked to Darwin that way. And I think Chuck was working there too at the time. But I didn't know who these guys were.
Yeah.
I don't think my dad did either. But anyway, then I got a Webco. I think it was from the bike shop in Diamond Bar.
Okay.
So.
And then what? Do you remember? Did you have choices, or you just got the Webco? Did you go to the shop?
I wanted the Webco because I seen, in magazines or whatever.
Right.
And,
Yeah, I wanted the DG California Pro, and my dad said, "Hell, that's $500." No, and I got a Cycle Pro Macho instead, right? But you had seen it in the magazine.
Yeah, right? I believe I seen it in the magazine, and they had, bikes, bike shops had the bikes lined up in there, and it was like, you could see a G, and then you had seen the FMFs, and they were banked back then,
Yeah.
They were the aluminum frame.
Yeah, right. So what year was this?
76.
76.
Yeah.
You are first gen.
Yeah.
So you get
the diamond fucking
you get the Webco, right? Are you the idol in the neighborhood?
I think I was just the craziest kid in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of my friends were really close behind me. It's like, we would jump people, and you see all the old
with the ramps and everybody lay down coffin style, right? Yeah, exactly.
And jump in the pools.
Yep.
And then you have to take the bike apart and put the white lithium grease in everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then do it again the next day, and you have to do it all over.
You still got your Webco?
No, I wish I did.
You could retire, right?
I think I gave it. I don't know what happened to it, to be honest. I didn't sell it. I don't know if I broke it or gave it away. I don't know. I think that was my first bike, and then.
But you raced that bike.
I did. Very first race I raced Covina Valley BMX
in 1976.
End of 76.
And you were 11.
I was just gonna turn 11 because I turned 11 on Halloween in '76, so this was probably in June or July.
Now it all makes sense how wild you are, the Halloween bird.
Yeah.
So what?
Start making my horns come out and shit.
What? How do you get to Covina Valley BMX? Like, does the bike shop tell you about it, or?
Yeah, the guy at the bike shop was a friend of mine. He's a few years older, and he said, you know, because we used to race like we used to call them death races. So we would go on the sidewalk and go through people's yard, and you know, it was usually a cul-de-sac.
Sure, we did the same thing.
You know what I mean? And then you turn around in the driveway and come back, but you try to knock each other off, kick them, you know, make them slide out. You know,
Death race.
Yeah. Get called death race. And I liked it because I think my Webco had mags on it.
Okay.
So it's not like I could, you know, you could kick their spokes, you know, on the front tire, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They couldn't do that to mine, or could stick a pedal in it, you know what I mean, and break them and shit. Yeah,
So you had Webco with Tufts. That's a pretty solid ride.
So I mean that was Covina Valley BMX, and you know, back in that day they didn't have novice, beginner, expert. They didn't have any of that. It was like you're 11. Get in the gate. You're 10, get in the gate. Well, there's not enough 11-year-olds, so you're racing 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
They'd always bump you up, never down.
Nice.
You know, if there wasn't enough for each of you, I'm assuming that's how the Open started. You know, there's not enough 11-year-olds, not enough 12-year-olds. Hey, you're riding 13, man. Put them all in the gate. You know what I mean? We'll make a main. You have 8 guys, or 7 guys, or 6 guys, whatever. You know, so. Yeah, that's how I started, man.
But tell me about your first race, because we chatted about it, and it was an interesting story.
First race, scared shitless. I mean, my pedals, I don't even think had grip pedals on them.
Oh, wow.
I think they were just like, you know, beach cruiser pedals or some shit. I don't know.
But you had it mentioned you had your bike still had reflectors on it and all that?
They have reflectors, yeah, because I mean, you had to buy them with reflectors back then. I guess even today, you still supposedly have to. They have to put them on, but like on the pedals and everything else. But so yeah, I had reflectors on it. I didn't have any pads. God, let me see. I think I had a chain guard and I think it had a kickstand thing on the bottom. So it was definitely made in China, I'm assuming. So anyway, yeah, I raced that. So I get in the, you know, I go to sign up, and you know, I'm nervous, don't know how it works. Seeing all these factory JMC guys up there, Johnny Begin, Steve West, and Steve West is the older brother. No, Steve West, and then it was Ronnie West, I think.
Yeah,
Was my brother's age, but they're all factory JMC. Lisa Webb, you know, I'm sure Clinton. I mean, Harry was there, and Clint Miller was probably there. You know, I don't know if Clint was riding for JMC at that time.
So you were in JMC country.
Oh, well, West Arena. I mean, Covina, and that's where Milton Shop was like around the corner.
So good, man.
So anyway, they didn't have enough 10-year-olds, so I had to get in the gate with the 11-year-olds.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming that Steve West was 12, maybe. So it was like 10, 11, and 12s, and they combined them all. I ended up winning the first moto in my bullet helmet, rented bullet helmet, and duct tape pads on, and so I ended up beating a couple of the factory guys, and then we got to the main, and it was like maybe me and one other person were, you know, privateers with paper plates. Everybody else was factory JMC.
Nice.
And that's when the girls raced the boys, and you know, so ended up coming out of the gate like third or something, and by the second turn I kind of pushed them all out of the way and ended up jumping the last tabletop and beating Steve West, which was a year or two older than I was. So
rubber band start, right?
Yeah. No, actually there was a gate. But,
okay.
A lot of the problem was back then it was you had a starter, you know, and you got an axe handle. Well, when he flops, depending if the gate hits the ground hard enough, it might spring back sometimes. They go boom, boom. But it would snap the handles a lot. So they would tie a rope because the handles broke. So they would have to tie like a rope onto the gate, and it was hard for, you know, him to, because it was only on one side. So the gate, of course, is going to flex on the outside. You know what I mean? So it's whether he can hold that flex, you know, I mean, that's how, and of course, you know, I we did a rubber band start at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there a couple times.
Nice.
Wind jumps and
We're getting there.
meeting the Rams, and yeah, we're getting
there. Yeah. It's my job to keep you in line.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
All right. So how you feeling after the Covina win? You're like, this is. I mean, you must have felt
It was something I love to do. I mean, it was like maybe that next weekend we were out in the rolling hills of Diamond Bar where I grew up, and with shovels and
building stuff.
you know, and it's yeah.
Okay. So what happens in the death races?
And then of course the death races, you know what I mean? You know, if it was muddy out in the hills or almost dark, then of course the death races would be around street lights.
Where were your trails? Diamond Bar trails?
Yeah.
Because I remember Honda Hills was up that way when I
Well,
moved
yeah,
here.
Claude Osteen's Motorcycle Park.
Okay.
Which is now Phil France, I guess, in parts of Chino-ish.
Okay.
You know, guys I looked up to were like, we'd sneak over to Claude Osteen's motorcycle park because it was maybe half a mile through the hills of where I grew up. And, I mean, you would have, Peter Ellis, I think, he rode for Can-Am, so you would see the big box truck out there with the Can-Am crap on it. And, yeah, and he would practice, you know, out
Jim
there.
Ellis, right?
Marty Smith. Roger DeCoster, you had those guys out there like, it was kind of like Glen Helen is today, I guess.
Okay.
So you had the big boys going out there, but they even had sections of Claude Osteen's that were like custom tracks of Can-Am and Suzuki, and you had Marty Smith from Honda, you know, recipe, I think, that's the way, sorry about that. But so it was, you know, when you just stand by the barbed wire fence and watch these guys, you know what I mean, and ask them, they throw you some gloves or something. It was kind of cool.
That's amazing.
But and then we would build our own tracks, you know, and then when they weren't there on a Monday or Tuesday, after school, we, you know, go through the barbed wire, put our bikes over or under or whatever, got it, you know what I mean, you know, hoodlums. And we would ride the track, you know, parts of the track that we could actually drive. You know, there may be a little downhill and a little, you know, 2 turns and maybe 1 jump or 2. And the rest of the track is uphill.
So we had chatted too. Didn't you get approached after your first race for sponsorship? For Moto Aces too, and
yeah, a place called Moto Aces.
That's so good.
We were orange and dark blue and with the jerseys.
Wow.
And Rob Merritt told me that some guy, a truck driver, started it, or I don't know if he had a kid racing. I don't remember too much of that, all that, because I only rode for him maybe a month or 2.
Okay.
And then, starting to win, because we would go every time that Covina race, which is, I think, a couple times a week.
Were you aware of any other tracks at the time, or you were just like...
We started to get into that to where, you know, Van Nuys is racing, you know, the teen center, and then you had Western Sports around, and then you had Azusa, you know, that was after Covina, you know, like a year or 2 after. Azusa, and, you know, you had, they were just La Mirada, you had, you know, Western Sports around, that was a big place where a lot of guys were riding, you know, a lot of the, you know, I fell in love with Crystal Bradshaw, you know, you know, I used to follow that little first seat, you know, because she was my age and we raced, you know, not a whole lot of powder puff, you know, there was Leslie, well, I forget her last name, I just talked to her not long ago. I'm not really good with names. But, and of course you had Kim Johnson. And, you know, and Debbie Schobert, and then we had, of course, Crystal, you know, beautiful. I'll talk to her this day. Sorry, Crystal. But you know I love her.
Well, you know, Greg fell in love with Liz at WSA, so it's all good, right? It's a mecca for...
Yeah, but that's,
because he had the hair and he had the rock and roll hair flowing. So, so Pete, that is kind of a question from Pete through the ages. Well, this guy was a little skeptical on his age.
Yeah, I haven't purchased it before. And she's 65. Halloween, I'll show it to you.
So after Covina, you start to go to these other places. The competition has to be way different than Covina, right? You go to WSA or you got you're like, who are these aliens, you know?
Right.
Do you remember being blown away by specific riders there? Anybody that caught your eye, you're like, I got to beat this guy, or who's that guy? Oh, that's Dennis Dane or someone, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, this was probably 77 now that we're talking,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe even late 77. But you had like Mark Higgins. I don't know if he
Yeah,
rode
no.
for us for a while. I had, you know, the local guys would be like, you know, Lee Medlin, Mary Eddy, you know, and it was, back then it was more like a family sport. It was like all of us usually had a little brother.
Yeah.
Rinker Marietti would
Yeah.
ride against my brother, you know, and
Okay.
then me and David were pretty much, he was a little older. And, you know, but it would be like our dads would get talking and,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
more than a business, it was a
it
family.
was a family thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
made, I mean, you didn't make no money back then on that. I mean, you don't even make any money now.
No, well, but in the '80s, it was the.
Yeah, well,
Look at that. Mark Rink is watching everybody.
what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing,
Holly Dunn's watching, the Arizona Hall of Famer. So tell me about going to these new spots. Did you win right off the bat? Going?
No,
I was gonna
hell
say
no.
like
I mean,
that.
It was like, you know, no, these guys were, yeah.
Crazy.
I never came out of the gate first, you know, because I did one pedal starts all the way through 80, you know, to 80. Like this. I couldn't, yeah.
No shit, huh? That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's a fact I never knew about.
Yeah, yeah. Always did a one pedal start.
Did you try to or no?
I tried to, but yeah, but it was like, hold on, you know, I'm bumping over here. And freaking,
We
know,
got to
like,
get you in some
Rich
clips on it.
Anderson sometimes would go, fucking, let me hold you up, man. Okay, we got to start now. You know,
We gotta
after
get
3
you-
times of me falling over, I'm fucking.
Put some clips on you and let you go up
No.
there.
That's another thing that is wrong with BMX nowadays.
Yeah, well, we could go on.
I don't even like calling it BMX. Sorry, everybody.
All right, so tell me about because, I mean, you ended up pretty good in the NBA. You were number 2 at some point later in your career. But tell me about, like, working your way up through the national level and getting to become who you were. Because you were factory-sponsored badass, dude.
Yeah, I was,
So what happens after the
I'm
moto-
running from my dad, so
Yeah,
it's like
but
a
still,
factory. It
yes,
was like,
but still, though.
I didn't have a choice,
No,
you know what
no,
I mean?
yes, but I'm going to stop you because Pete also said you were the man until he finally got his chops together and was becoming good. He said you were the man. So you got to stand.
thanks, Pete.
You got to stand for
Thank
the
you, Hall of
pistol
Famer.
himself.
I'm not in the Hall of Fame yet, so, you know.
But what happens after Moto Aces?
I think I rode for Mona Schwinn for maybe a month or something.
Get a bike out of there?
No, I didn't. They would just work on your bike. And I think then I got rid of my Webco. I kept that for like a jump bike.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I got a Cook Brothers.
Nice.
No, I got a Jimmy Weiner.
Oh.
Because Christopher rode it. Yeah, man, I wanted one of them. Sorry.
I'm glad you're exposing your long lost love here during this. It's great.
Yeah, there was another bigger guys that that were riding for Weiner too, and my brother, he got a Cook Brothers.
Okay.
Mini.
You guys
And,
still had these bikes, you understand.
Yeah.
You could there's no Roth Iris anymore. when
No,
you have
no.
one.
I went through a lot of bikes, because a lot of times I couldn't put the race bike on the street because I dropped you.
Yeah, we had
You
I had
know?
a practice bike too.
Yeah, and then so I would have to, go through jump bikes. And of course, with a death race, you know what I mean. You've been in crap, and
Yeah, yeah.
but
How was your Weiner, man? How did that thing ride? Did you like it?
like a Cook Brother. To me, it was a Cook Brother,
Okay.
just with a W with a little frame thing,
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently they were different. I mean, back then I didn't think about geometry and all that. It's like what it felt like to ride,
Brian Lewis had similar things. He could just jump
Yeah,
on
he's a
something.
legend. I mean, yeah, I remember him. I mean, he was one of the guys I looked up to.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He said he could just jump on anything and he would just have the
You
mindset
feel
to
it.
just go.
Yeah. Hey, the bars are a little low or a little forward, and let me just do a little modification here, raise the seat post. Back in then, you had to raise the seat post. Nowadays, I don't know what the hell
They don't even have
I
a
would have
seat.
hit my ass on these tires if I raced it.
Well, I race modern now, and I raise my seat up as high as I can because I'm used to carving corners on the inside of my thighs.
Not only that, you got to use it for counterbalance, right? Don't you? You know,
Yes.
you go to bunny up or speed jump and jump. Don't you let the seat bump your ass?
Not anymore. They don't even
Excuse
have.
my language.
They don't
Well,
have those anymore. So this Weiner,
It must have been an incredible bike. I never had
had one, but I can.
I mean,
feel
I had JGS. I mean, it was like that was my jump bike was JGS.
I like how your jump bikes could put you.
You could buy an island with all these,
These jump bikes. You had a Webco jump bike, JBS.
like a PJS.
Yeah,
Man, that's incredible.
yeah.
So that
So then after the promotion,
when what goes down? Because now
My
you're
dad,
starting.
once we were getting good and getting a lot of, and then Jim Milton asked me to join the JMC team,
Yeah.
and then there was a company called Superbike,
okay,
and they were right around the corner in Covina, and so my dad met the owner and he talked and this and that, and my dad ended up selling his liquor store that he had since he was 21. The day he turned 21, he got a liquor license. He was the only guy in California that young to get a liquor license. But he had that Mike's Liquor in Monterey Park for a long, long time, for over 30 years probably. And he also had a bar and a restaurant. But anyway, so my dad wanted to get out of that, them working day and night, my mom, and we wanted to settle down. But so we were in Dunn Bar at this time, so he had sold the liquor store, and he invested $87,000 into Superbike, which made the Tough Neck. But I also made the Cobra, the Greyhound. The Cobra was, I think, mild steel, or the Greyhound was mild steel, and the Cobra was chromoly. It was like one of the first kind of chromolys, other
Did
than
you ever
JMC.
hear much about them as far as like folklore, anybody having them online? The super
No,
bikes, right?
I mean, Rob Merritt, Rob's all, man, I wish I would have saved mine. Yeah, me
it's
too,
like the
man.
kabuki in a way.
Yeah, but they were heavy, they were like, kind of like the race bike of a Webco, they were mild steel, but heavy bikes, they were heavy.
Anybody out there's got a super bike?
Too. Yeah,
Contact
Rob
me.
Merritt will jump on it before I would, probably.
So that was kind of a sponsor
Right.
slash
Well,
your
my
dad invested.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this is going to get political down the road and all this crap, so bear with me, people. But this is the thing of Tough Neck and Pro Neck that came about. So Superbike made the Tough Neck. The Tough Neck was actually made by a place called Back-In Enterprise, which was in Walnut, California, up the fairway in the 60s. Of course, we live in Diamond Bar, which is two of our friends farther south. And then you would, get into Covina and so on, San Dimas. Anyway, Pomona. So, my dad invested money in this company. And after about 2.5 months, my dad was going to the shop, or he was calling and couldn't get a hold of anybody, and so he would go to the shop and the gates were locked.
And he had invested his money in it.
Yeah, cool. And the gates were locked, and my dad thought, what's going on? So my dad cut the lock off the gate and opened it, and then the cops had come and said, no, this is repossessed, man. The landlord locked it up, and all the machinery is getting, repossessed, My dad thought, when all this taking place? Because, I got money invested in this, and this is, nobody told me anything about this.
yeah.
Come to find out, the owner of Superbike, his name was John Lindsay. Apparently, I don't know what he had a problem with, gambling or something. I don't know. Mind you, I'm 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I just know going with my dad and finding out what's going on. And not because that my dad would actually tell me, it's just I would just hear
Yeah.
him talking. I learned a lot by just keeping my mouth shut and hearing the old school guys talk.
Yeah.
So anyway, he invested the money into that, and Tough Neck, and come to find out, it was in bankruptcy, and he used the money that was supposed to go to making stems and more bikes and handlebars and what have you. He used the money to get his cars out of Hawk, his house out of Hawk, blah blah blah, and so the thing that didn't get repossessed was some of the tough necks that were in there. So my dad took whatever inventory was left in there of the tough necks and didn't know, anything, how to make them do anything. So he found an invoice inside one of the crates.
This is amazing.
That I think they were just the shafts, just the chrome shafts, and it was like an invoice that was in the bottom of the oil freaking bullshit. So we found out who made them. It went over to this place and he's like, yeah, that's son of a bitch, John. This is Ken, not Kent. It was Ray Horton, the older owner of Backton Enterprise. So he says, yeah, that son of a bitch, Lindsay, fucking send me a bad check for like $10 grand or freaking get my stuff back, and he still owes me this, and I got 4 pallets of finished product over here. Fucking that's another 30 grand right there, or 20 grand. Freaking, he's not picking those up, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with them, and blah blah blah. And my dad's all, well, I've invested into this. I tell you what does this pellet cost? What does he owe you first of all? The check bounced for 12, and they went in the office and they showed him that check, and my dad's all, okay, man, got out of his checkbook, here's the check. I'm the new owner of Tough Neck. We won't be Superbike. I'm the new owner of Superbike. I'll be taking it over.
Right.
You don't have to deal with John anymore. I'll deal with him. So, and he'd go, well, what about all these pallets have been here for weeks, that he owes me money. He said, I'll tell you what, man, let me come back tomorrow, I'll write you another check, and I'll take all this. But I don't have any way to, I don't have a forklift, I don't have a shop, and I don't have anything. He's all, well, we can put it in unload it by hand, put it in crates or boxes, and have it delivered anywhere you want. He goes, I live in Dimeboro. All I have is my garage.
Yeah.
And my mom's Cadillac had to get back out of the garage. She wasn't happy with that.
Right.
And so next day or two, here comes Kent, which is Ray Horton's partner. Pulls up in the steak bag truck, and my dad, because he owned the liquor store, he called the Driftwood Dairy guy and said, hey, I need some milk cartons, milk crates. And if you look on a milk crate, it's a $500 fine if you take it or what you're doing. And the guy said, hey, we're making new ones. So these orange ones, we're just going to destroy. My dad's all, he goes, I can give you some of those. How many you want? My dad said 150. He's all, how am I going to get you 150? Because they're bulking.
Yeah.
How am I going to get 150? I'll tell you what, I need 50 right away, but I'll take the other ones whenever you can get them to me. And the guy's like, okay, man, well, come pick them up. So my dad went in the station wagon, and I think he even maybe rented a U-Haul to pick some more up and dropped them off and back in, and then back in loaded the milk crates up, and that's how we carried the parts into the garage.
What would be funny is if there was a pile of Cobras there.
Cobra would have gone
Oh,
on.
Tough Neck
I think there was framed stuff, but it wasn't welded together.
What I'm saying is,
It was just like,
suppose you had a rack of Cobras, Tough Neck wouldn't have existed, but Cobra would have gone on maybe.
or the Greyhound, I think, was the bigger seller.
So the Greyhound, maybe Tough Neck wouldn't have existed, but Greyhound would still be around. You know what I mean?
Right. Is that what?
Choice.
Yeah.
Because of
Right.
the way things were, right?
Right.
Interesting. So you got all these crates now, and the station wagon.
And then my dad had a contact like bike shops. Okay, who do you sell? Where do you buy your stuff from? And then it was like, cycle components. You talk to, Howie Cohen over here.
Yeah.
Everything bicycles, and then Right Way Products over here.
I used to work at Right Way.
And then my dad starts researching, and they would say, yeah, well, there's another distributor that, he's in, Oklahoma, or, bike brokers in Florida. You got, and if you want to go international, we got a German, we sent them all the way to Germany and Singapore
And what year was this?
late 77, I think. And then my dad said, well, I can't do this out of the garage. Because mind you, we had to make pads. Well, my dad had got the button thing to make, put the buttons on it. It's an old green thing. I had it until like 5 years ago. I got rid of it. But it was a little machine that you just, put the 3 pieces of button and you got to pull it by hand. Oh, hand. But my mom would sew the pads.
Yep.
So that was my mom's job at first, just sewing the pads, and then of course cleaning the stems. putting them in, you know, in the bag and stapling them. That was my mom's job. It was like all my friends and family worked there. Neil, Cindy, which is my landlord, and Neil, my lifelong best friend. Yeah, so that's how it started in the garage. That's why if you look on the very first ads for ToughNet, it has our home address, which my mom just passed away in, 23, and we just sold it in a year or two.
Wow.
We just sold the house a year or two ago.
I'm gonna go back and look because I have access to all that stuff.
That's amazing. So you basically,
This is insane. This is insane how
I never knew the story. It's just started from your dad going, well, let me just see what I can do with this
He
situation.
wanted something to do because he was too young to retire, and it was like he was done standing on his feet at the, working 20 hours a week, 18 hours a week. My mom was getting fed up.
So what happens with that first batch? Man, I wish I had one of that first batch. What happens?
We didn't have the stamp yet because I don't think we could find the stamp. My dad couldn't find the stamp in the shop because he could. He had to go into this building and freaking take all the shit and put it as fast as he could, or it got repoed. And before Lindsay said, "No, what do you can't take the stuff?"
So there were stems with no.
Right, and then my dad said, "I'll give you everything back and get make me whole. Give me back my cash."
Yeah.
It was cash, money,
It's the 70s.
And, my dad said, "You give me back the cash, make me whole, and freaking I'll give you back all your stuff."
Amazing. Todd Slavic is watching.
You gotta be kidding me. Mark Lopez watching. Todd Slavic, legend.
Smaller?
No, Todd Slavic. Todd Slavic. Wait a minute. So no stamps, and those stems, they just go, you just start.
You can't distribute them,
We didn't have the stamp that said ToughNet Patent Pending on it, so what we had to do was put a sticker that said TN on it. It was a white sticker like this. My dad got at freaking Hallmark, at a stationery place, and had a rubber stamp made, and it said TN. ToughNet, and we would stamp
How
these
many of
things
those
and
are
freaking
floating
put them
around?
on. I have no clue. Then, when we got the shop, then we got a hold of the guy that used to make stickers, which is Dilly Screen Print in Santa Ana, I believe.
Okay.
And, they did die cuts, and they made all, they were the sticker people,
Sure.
So then we started doing the ToughNet with the Bulldog. I got jumped ahead of myself. But anyway, we used to make them prism. It was a black gold prism with a black thing.
I remember.
And then we decaled them until we got the stamp made.
I remember
to make
those.
The
Prisms.
pending
I
on
really
it.
do. What
Right.
year was that? That would have been 70.
77. Late 77.
But those,
Not 78.
How long did those prism? I'm looking at ads probably.
78 was when we came out with ToughNet. Sometime in 78 when we changed it because Don Lindsay turned around and sold Superbike again
What?
to a Asian guy that was a DuPont chemical engineer, but his son, and he was in Taiwan or somewhere.
Yeah.
His son was got to go to USC. So his son was going to move here, and his son was 18, and I don't know what, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he wanted to come to the States, so this is how he came into the States on my company. You know what I mean? And then you can only stay over here for 6 months out of the year, or 9 months out of the year, and you got to go back for 3 months, and blah, blah, blah. But he could actually get permanent residence because he owned a business to pay taxes, and now he's here.
So it comes out.
He bought Superbike. He didn't know what the hell he was doing either.
Wow.
And so my dad found out that there's a guy selling stuff under ToughNet, same exact product.
Yeah.
So Lindsay had to walk him through this.
Wow.
And I don't know what he paid for it, the Asian guy or anything, but he was in Covina, 5 miles from us.
What?
Yeah, we were in Pomona, he's in Covina, 2 exits down, up to 57. So anyway, my dad goes over, talked to him. They said, this ain't right, can't use the name, blah, blah, blah. Well, bullshit, I bought Superbike, and then,
Said you couldn't.
blah, blah, blah. Because if you look at the ToughNets that are made by Superbike, under the Asian guy, I don't even know his name. I did, but I forgot. Anyway, they say Superbike. The packaging is Superbike. That's the name of the company. It's just the ToughNet is what they made. It was just a product they made.
Okay.
but it was the number one product they did make. It was, the stem was it. That was the number one seller. That's why my dad took that, because he didn't care about the other crap because it didn't really sell.
Yeah, but like I told
The
you,
stem was the it thing.
Yeah, I told you in my neighborhood back in Jersey, if
you
you
had a tough neck and V-bars, you were the king of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But anything else? I have a Suntour stem. Nope.
you ain't cool, tough neck, you're cool. V-bars, okay, I got Cook Brothers bars. Nope, that combination was so
Popular that you were like.
So right when my dad came into the doing the tough neck thing, at the first tough necks had a pin, like a pin. They would be pressed in, but not with a bunch of tons, to stretch the aluminum out and so on. But they would have a pin, no big bolt clamping it together. And when my dad got in it, those were the first run of the actual pressing, like 10 thousandths, 8 thousandths difference, and you would press the chromoly with an impact kind of thing. Interpack, that's what it was called. Well, we put a couple tons on it and press it in and stretch the material out, and then take a big, NASCAR driver and drive these things in with like 220 pounds of pressure. Sometimes it'd snap the bolt right into the chromoly shaft, and then we'd have to press them out and redo it.
wow.
And if sometimes the shaft pressed in too easy, then it'd be no good because it's just gonna turn after.
Yeah.
The chromoly, the aluminum is gonna weaken and stretch before the chromoly. So when you combine chromoly with aluminum, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Of course, aluminum's gonna give. So so that's why we were ratcheting the big bolt on the one like that. But, and that's when my dad took it over when they got rid of the pin, and Ray Horton came out with a Litz locket with a big 5/8 bolt to make it bomb-proof.
So then what happens? I mean, now you're making.
But they're also making.
Right. So we sued. Well, we went to sue John Lindsay. He claimed bankruptcy, and my dad's lawyer said it's not even worth the money anymore. You know what I mean? What are you going to get out of it? Nothing. You're just going to put it in somebody else's name, and he's a fucking excuse my language, but he's a crook. Yeah. He's a fraudster. Okay. And then my dad said, and then the lawyer told him, well, you want to go through this again, or and my dad's all, yeah, because, he's taking my distributors. My distributors are buying from him, because he's selling them for a couple bucks cheaper. And he was actually selling them for like $2.50 cheaper, and then you had like JB importers, but, my dad's beginning distributors were buying from them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we went to court, and that lasted about, a year, and come to find out that the name Toughneck was used in a federal bankruptcy in 1968 or 67. And back then, I don't know if the law's still the same, but back then, if a name was used in a federal bankruptcy, after that, it's legal tender for anybody to use.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's how he got to do Toughneck. However, the bulldog, my dad, my mom called it the drunken bulldog. She hated that freaking logo. My dad said, well, it's good for me. So he went, we're in Pomona on Jumbo Boulevard, which Cal Poly is like, 500 yards away from the shop. And then there's another, half a mile or a mile, you got Mount Sac. So two colleges together. So my dad went to, East College to the graphic design place, class. And that was when graphic design was actually kind of first doing a thing, so he would ask the students coming out, hey, you'd like to make $300 and I need this, my dad was like, I'm not a prostitute, get the fucking weirdo man, you know what I mean? My dad's like, what do I do? And everybody thinks I'm, So he goes in and talks to the teacher, and teacher said something, I guess, in the class, and the girl comes out and talks to my dad, little the girl with glasses in college, you know,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And she said, yeah, I'll come up with something, you know. She came up with that bulldog.
That's amazing.
And frickin' my dad said, perfect. And how much do I owe you? She said, $300. She said, then I'll sign it over to you. You know,
Yeah.
released, here you go. And that's all cool. So my dad went and copyrighted it, which is the best thing he ever did was copyright the bulldog, because if he would have just registered it, you would have had to do that every 7 to 10 years to register something, like a name. But when you copyright an image as a logo, you have it for 70 years.
Wow.
So I have it to 2043.
Nice.
44, I don't know, somewhere around there. So anyway, that's the only thing we want in court was, you know, we could both use tough neck, but he cannot put that bulldog on his tough neck.
Would you have changed the name, the tough neck, to spell it differently? Would that have helped?
So we changed from tough neck to pro neck.
Ah, yes.
I went to tough neck to pro neck and had the bulldog.
Okay.
That's how tough neck became pro neck.
What year?
78, late 78.
Okay.
Yeah, because 79 I was running pro neck.
Yeah.
You know, pro neck uniforms.
Yeah.
77 or 70, late 77, 78 is somewhere in there. Mind you, people, I'm 60 years old. My memory ain't that well. Yeah, that's how all that came to go. So everybody's been asking me, what is the difference between this and that? Here's the difference between a tough neck and a pro neck. Absolutely, probably nothing.
But the name.
But the name. However, we did a hardening test on the material, on meteorology test or something way back in the day, and come to find out, tough neck was not using 6061 T6 bar. They're using 5000 series. So 50, 53 or some shit, 56. So it's a softer aluminum, not as strong. And they weren't using grade 8 hardened bolts. They're using grade 5. You know, and the chromoly, they were getting it. They weren't using the same exact chromoly shaft. It was a step below it. So that was the reason how he could make those stems and sell them for $250 less.
Ah, I see.
So there you go. It was just a cost of material is all it was. So that's how I started.
Amazing. So racing-wise, I love the history. Everybody wanted to know. I wanted to know.
You finally, you can put it to rest.
You've explained yourself.
It's great. I love it. So racing-wise, so do you remember? So tough neck, right? You would have had tough necks infinitely from that. When you first started, did you have a tough neck?
No, I think Webco's came with the Ashtabula.
But when your dad got those crates, did you put one on your bike immediately or no?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And they were non-stamped.
Non-stamped.
So good, man.
Non-stamped.
And what bike did you put your first tough neck on? It's a quiz show, Will.
Yeah, God damn it. You know, I do have, you know, I'm getting dementia. So 1994.
No, I'm trying to put. This is historic shit, man.
You know, it had to have been the Jimmy Weiner.
So you had a tough
It
neck
had to
and
be
a
the
Jimmy
Weiner
Weiner.
or...
Because that's amazing. If you had a tough neck on a Jimmy
It
Weiner.
had to have been the Weiner, because I know it wasn't my GT. Because after, you know, when I got onto the national level in 78,
Yeah.
late 77, 78, I wrote a custom handmade GT.
From Gary.
Yeah, Richard Turner made it for a guy that worked at Anaheim Bike, which was owned by Richard Long, on the way to Western Sports Around.
Yeah. I got great stories about Rich Long, but everybody's already heard
So
of it.
that was a bike shop we went to on the way to the track to get an inner tube or, you know,
Anaheim Schwinn.
you know, blah, blah, you know,
Yeah.
whatever you need. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And Gary Turner made it for a guy named Kenny Moore.
Okay.
And that was the guy that put the bikes together in the back of the Rich Long shop. He was the bike shop, you know, behind the scenes.
What do you think Kenny Moore's serial number was?
I have no clue.
first top.
There was no serial number on my bike.
Yeah, so
No, because it's not a regular GT. The front end, because Kenny Moore was like 6'3". You know, he was like the big boys, like Sean Texas, Kevin McNeil. So the front end is actually farther. It's like a half inch longer, and the rear end is like a half inch shorter.
okay.
And the seat tube mass is a different height. Yeah, and to adjust the brakes, you know, everybody usually had just the old school brakes, you know, the whatever MKs or whatever.
MX-1000s.
Yeah, well, mine was on the headset.
What?
I adjusted the brakes from the head tube. They very well did the thing on it where you open and close, you know, the brakes. He welded that on the head tube so Kenny Moore could be in the gate, and if he had to adjust it, he didn't have to get off the bike. So he reached down and do it. And I sold the bike to a guy in New York. And thank God he takes great care of it. He still owns it today. He built it and everything, and he made a bitchin' poster thing for me and himself of all the photos that, you know, from the years that I raced. But he made that, and yeah, I kept the one he gave me, and I made 10 more, and I signed them and gave them away.
Wow.
But I still have the one he gave me. It's in the shed.
Oh, shit.
And it's really cool. The center of it's that BMX Plus cover that I got from my dad's muscular dystrophy race that there was in Azusa.
Nice.
Yeah, when my dad and Rich Long went into hoops on the track.
Amazing. So
But that's where I got the GT from. It was Kenny Moore's, and
so that's after your winery.
that's after my wine.
You went to the GT, not just a GT, but
A
an
custom
amazing GT.
Yeah, I rode it, and I loved it, and I didn't want any other bike.
No shit.
I see not, and that's what I raced on until I quit. Until my guy had a European Bond bracket, 10-speed, Campanola, and then I got sponsored by Campanola, so I had Campanola everywhere.
Oh, that's what it was.
Hubs, cranks.
Wow.
You know, headset bearings. It was all Camp.
Their hubs were sick. I
All
had a
Camp.
set of their hubs.
Yeah, they spin forever. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
They had all campy. Everything was campy.
So then
This would be the start of
the pro team, right? When would
Well, we were a Tough Nut team, and all we did was change the name. Most of the guys were still on, you know, the team. You know, you had the Showbirds.
Yeah,
You know, Steve Showbird and Debbie Showbird. And we had Bobby Creek. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember the
We had
Showbirds.
Bobby Creek. We had Chris Gallup. They're both passed. Rest in peace, boys. Yeah, but they were like one of the, you know, Mark Higgins. They were like one of the Lonnie Tattons.
Woo-hoo.
You know, I mean, this is before Lonnie rode for SZ.
Sure, sure.
The Tattons and my mom and dad were like best friends.
Wow, I love Lonnie. He's a cool dude.
You know, so you know, we'd always steal Mr. Tatton's Olympia. He'd drink Olympia beer. Couldn't stand it, but we steal that shit. Especially at Corona, it'd be hotter than hell, man. Chasing the water truck with an Olympia beer in their hand at 13 years old.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But your dad didn't have a liquor store. You couldn't get your own Olympia.
Oh, my dad, he had cases of liquor from the liquor store in our garage.
And what are you going to do at 13? Stoke out the neighborhood, right?
I mean, that's why, you know, you would have Jim Milton, you would have Howie Cohen, you would have Howard Rightway.
I love Howard.
You would have Chuck Robinson, you would have Boris Dixon. All these people would come to our shop and have like a sit down. And my dad would say, sit over there, just listen and shut up.
Yeah.
Don't say a word, just listen. And all the guys would sit in, my dad would have all their liquors, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, like Chuck, he'd drink a certain liquor, and Boris drink a certain liquor. You know what I mean? So they fucking, my dad would pour them all drinks, and they sit down and bullshit.
Yeah. I remember I worked for Howard at Right Way. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So
Howard,
good, man.
right off Lambert, right? You get off Lambert, make a left. Yeah.
That's my first job I ever had.
He
when I
was
moved
our
to California.
biggest distributor, man, and my dad's dear friend. Boris was my dad's dear friend. My dad and Boris actually went into another business of flipping houses
Nice.
before flipping houses was anything.
Your dad,
They only flipped like 3 of them, and then my dad was all, I don't know shit
Your
about
dad's-
construction. How am I going to hammer a nail? But Boris knew how to do it all.
I never met your dad, but what a visionary to take parts that he invested in and just
create this dynasty off of an accident, or not an accident.
I mean, excuse me, how come we're not in the Hall of Fame yet? You know what I mean?
well,
How does that happen?
we can work on that.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, help me burn around. You know what I mean? I'm almost dead.
We'll work on that. It's no problem.
So the Tough Neck team, right, is
What do you get if you're on the Tough Neck team? What do you get? Jersey stem? Because you don't have a bucket. You don't have a.
Well, Tough Neck team, no, we didn't have the national pros yet. So we
Right,
didn't have
exactly.
frames. So you rode whatever frame made you comfortable.
with the Tough Neck.
And hopefully, whatever frame you rode, we could get it for you.
okay. Oh, that's cool. So you provided bikes and
Like the
their choice.
GT frame. I bought my GT, but if other guys on the team wanted a GT, we wouldn't have to pay for it.
How much
You
did you
know.
pay for your GT?
I don't know. I think back in '77 it was like 300 and something bucks.
Oh no shit, that was pricey back then.
Fully built.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was like Kenny Moore just took his. I think he had a Harlem number plate, one of the first Harlem number plates on it, and that's where I wanted a Harlem number plate. Because my number
Didn't
before I
work.
was national number 2 was 233.
Okay.
And I think you just see some pictures of me running that 233
Yeah.
number. I think that was in 78. 77 I was running, I think 1407. And my brother was 1406.
Nice.
Because my dad was signing us up,
Yeah.
you know, at the same time.
And that was NBA.
Yeah.
Nice.
Never raced NBL.
No.
No, even though Azusa I heard turned into an NBL
I
track.
remember
in
Little
the
bit.
Azusa.
And I didn't even know my dad and Rich Long had bought the Azusa track. But they didn't own it for very long.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was partners in the Azusa track for a little bit.
You know, I liken you to Mark Rink a ton.
Right.
I love Mark
The,
Rink.
the tracks,
Yeah.
Your dad's own bike
companies, you know, Mark's dad owned a bike shop, but you're very similar
very similar.
in the path that you guys have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You guys are both sarcastic. That's what I like about you.
Come on, man. They know I'm not.
Is Mark still watching
I'm
as
not
I
from
make
Jersey,
fun of
man.
him? Well, let's see. I don't know, Mark, if you're still watching, I'm making fun of you. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Marcus?
So we did get up to where Pronet.
Actually, kind of started. What was the highest national ranking you ever had? Was it number 2?
Number 2, yeah.
And that was in 70.
6 points. 6 points separated number 1 and number 2.
Who was number 1 that year?
Greg Hill.
No.
You know who's number 3? And you know who you are, number 3. All right, Mr. Atherton. Donnie Atherton got number 3, so that's why if I call him number 3,
Yeah.
he calls me number 2.
Gotcha.
That's the reason why.
Wow.
Good friends, me and Donnie. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Yeah, Donnie's awesome. Yeah. A kid in my neighborhood got a handwritten letter
From him, and we thought the kid in the neighborhood
was that you guys, there's no way you guys, yeah, we were converted, and it was like,
Yeah.
he was the neighborhood king because Donnie Atherton like gave him a handwritten letter.
Yeah, I think Greg Hill was the youngest, the last pro. He was the last kid to become pro before Ernie made it. You have to have a driver's license
Yeah,
to
probably,
become
right?
pro.
because
The
Eric was
reason
already.
why is because, and ABA was the same way, is the reason why is that they give away cars. They give away, you just look at the fucking Pattersons, they got Transams up the ass. You know what I mean? And, you know, but I think Kevin McNeil won 2. An
Yes.
S10 truck and Trans Am or some shit, or
Yeah.
Camaro or something. I don't know what it was. He couldn't afford the goddamn sales tax, so my dad had to pay it so he could get the cars.
I love, you know, there's reason I do this. The reason I do this podcast is for the stories.
And just the stuff that your dad was into and helped people.
Yeah, my dad gave more than he took. That's for damn sure.
That's amazing, man. That's so cool. Like, who would ever know that he paid for those cars so they could have them?
Yeah, you had to pay the sales
The
tax.
sales tax, yeah.
They give you the car, but you got to pay the sales tax.
And I'm intrigued to talk to you
Well, the
about
Trans Am back then was only like what, 13 grand?
Yeah.
I mean, the S10 truck was maybe 5 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, what nothing?
Amazing. So
You that was your highest national ranking, right?
Yeah, number 2, Greg Hill beat me by 6 points.
I'm sure he calculated his points at home too. So don't you doing that? So what was
Your favorite national?
the all time as far as like, because you ended up number 2, so you had to. Did you win,
Did you win nationals that year?
or were you just consistently main making at that point when you got your number 2?
No. I was double, triple.
Nice.
You know, win the Open and win the age class. And
Yeah.
The main thing it was that's when trophy dash points counted.
Okay.
Okay, I was the number 1 13-year-old, 12-year-old, and 13-year-old. You know, in my age class.
Right.
You know, I got those trophies. You know, so I was number 1 in that, but you couldn't run that plate. You know what I mean? It's like you're just number 1 in the class doesn't mean you get to run that plate.
Which is
You know.
interesting, right?
No, you run your regular ABA or NBA plate.
Wow.
And then nationally, that's what the national thing was. Is that you can run the national plate at anywhere you go.
Okay.
So that's why national was the big deal. And it was a lot of work chasing points.
Yeah.
It makes the sport not fun. It became not fun to me. Where you go and meet the guys and get on track, bullshit. Hey, Marietta's gonna take me out in this turn, or you're coming with me, so I'll put it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that anymore. Now it was like this can make a big difference.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I talked to.
Greg and.
Is that flight kicking your ass?
No, I'll kill him.
Ninja. No, talk to those guys. The pressure, like I talked to Eric Carter about this last night, like the pressure that you guys went through. Because I'm racing now and I'm winning, so I feel this pressure. I'm like, how on earth, when you had so much more on the line, did you handle that kind of a pressure?
At 13 years
At 13 years old.
You had your dad. No, so I'm going to break it down. You had your dad, who owned the
Company. So that's huge. Whatever it is, that's pressure, right? Because you're like, I got to make sure this is my family business, right?
Yeah, the company. Everybody says, "Oh, the company was, your dad opened that company and grew that company on your back." I go, "Okay, but thanks for some more goddamn pressure. What about,
Right, and you're in ads?
Yeah, I'm in the ads. I was in GT ads. Me and Medlin were in GT ads. But I didn't ride for a GT ever.
Right.
But I rode a GT frame, and I would never give it up.
They fired me twice.
But that's a whole other story, too.
Yeah, that's a whole other goddamn story.
So what I'm saying is the pressure at 13,
It's very intriguing to me, like, how you deal with that. Because on a minuscule level, I'm dealing with it now, but I'm like,
how do you, you got,
okay, like they say now in modern, it's like, okay, you're on the gate. And if you win, you get 10 points, and you're number 1. And they're telling you on the main what the points are, and you're just like, how do you... You had a lot of pressure growing up that you went through, and you...
My dad wouldn't put that much pressure. He would say, you gotta beat so-and-so, and you gotta beat so-and-so, or he's gotta come in 5th, or
right.
You know what I mean?
Think
It's like,
about that.
okay, so
calculating.
if I crash, I gotta make sure go jump on him, or grab his bike instead, you know what I mean? And then it's like, get your ass, running it across the finish line. What are you? I got 4th, you got 2nd, or, whatever.
But it is,
You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's,
crazy.
it was like, now I gotta get to this national,
Yeah, so you're right. The fun does go away.
It goes away
It's
because
like a
it's
job,
Yeah, and it's like, you're flying in New Jersey on the red-eye flight, I was only at school like Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday.
Yeah.
And then I was on a red-eye flight, or, and I'd come home Sunday night so late that I couldn't get to school Monday.
Yeah.
So it was like I missed Monday all the time. And I
Crazy
missed
they
Friday
allow
all the
it.
time.
They allow it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, my dad wouldn't go to me, like, you know, when you're in New Jersey, I had to have a chaperone freaking and stay at somebody's house out there that my dad set up.
Sure.
You know, and race, and then Sunday night I'm back on a flight. You know what I mean? And then land, and then I'm dead tired and wake up at, you know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, go to school Tuesday.
Yeah.
My dad rips down the bike, you know, and changes shit. Hey, you got an accident over here, you're going to Oklahoma, or you're going
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was your favorite track of all time?
Oh, God.
Corona?
Probably.
Exactly.
I don't know. I loved Weiner Mountain.
Nice.
Weiner Mountain was down, they would bulldoze it right behind it. And then Weiner Mountain, like I said, yeah, Saddleback. Those were the badass tracks. Rancho was nice.
You were a downhill kind of guy then.
Rancho was bitchin'. I like San Diego. Yeah, just you know.
Can you remember your
greatest day ever? Where you were like,
it doesn't get any better than this?
Greatest day ever.
What would that have been? Maybe a bunch of shit lined up, like your dad got a bunch of
new stems in, you put one on, you won.
you tripled, you. Look at the wheels turn.
I mean, I had a lot of great.
Give me one.
Hitting the brakes in the second turn at Azusa and watching Marietti fly over the berm and not take me out. No, I'm just kidding, David.
I got news for you. Brian Patterson's watching right now.
Hey, Brian, how's it going, bud? I love them guys. It's
amazing.
If more of us could be like that family, the sport would be on track.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Great day, guys. Hope you got my birthday present.
Come to Dirty Fest and hang with us all.
Yeah, well, I sent him a birthday. Anyway, so yeah, I would say, I don't know, I like Watsonville. That was a cool track.
Oh, wow, okay.
Downhill, kind of on the side of a mountain thing. Colorado was cool. There was a
How come you're not
thing.
racing Dirty Fest if
You like downhill tracks? Come on.
I'm 60 years old.
it don't matter? They got a class for you. You're fine.
Oh man, I go down once and I.
Come on.
No.
Let's revamp the Pro Neck uniform.
Well, we can do that, but you ain't getting my ass on the gate.
Come on, man.
No. You putting me on the track.
So tell me about
we talked about
let's talk about the
issues, the stems. Let's talk about the national pros are available for people.
Yeah, we're revamping the national pros. We've been doing it for a while. Always American made. Always SoCal made. Right here in Southern California. Tom Corey made them when he was in Fontana. He had to move to Alabama, which he's freezing his ass up. I hope we're doing okay back there. I know he sent me a thing. We're getting hit hard, man. This morning. He's in, and same with Texas. You know, Rob and City Lane.
Yeah.
My boys in Texas and my family in Texas. Yeah, they're getting hit pretty hard. So hopefully make it. But yeah. So and then Tom moved to Alabama. So my whole goal is my whole thing is it's got to be American made. And it's got to be made in SoCal. So Johnny is who I picked to start making the national pros and forks and frame forks, sequels, handlebars, stems. I'm going to machine shop in Chino. Steve at Head of Machinery, great guy. Anyway, yeah, so I do have a little bit of a prototype stem here. Let me grab it.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh,
We're gonna unveil it.
No, not really. It's just a rough grab.
It's okay. Amazing. We haven't done any product launches on the show yet. This is great.
So, it's kind of a...
Look at that.
Well, we can see it.
Woo, look at that. That is sick.
But it's going to be, it's all going to be laser finished, you know, kind of.
That is
That's
sweet.
engraved, not lasered. But you're going to be able to make it so you can run it like this, standard. Or you can run it upside down and make it inverted and not have to buy two stems. One stem will do it all, and this is the Pro, and we're making it a Pro XL. which will be a ½ inch longer. So that's what we're doing. But it'll all be lasered, and nobody's gonna be able to afford it except for Brian Patterson. He's a probably, you might have to loan your brother, your big brother, some cash. I'm kidding, guys. So anyway, we're just come out with some stems, seat post clamp.
Oh, okay.
Just little bit by a little bit. And the shaft stem, we're gonna remake those like that with a shaft.
Okay.
So it'll be standard stem.
And then if people are interested in getting it, where can they get it?
You go to our webpage, originalpronets.com.
Okay.
There's a lot of other pronets out there that copy us, think they own it, blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that and the lawsuits down the road. But
For now.
down the road. Right now I'm doing my first podcast, so you know what I'm doing.
Awesome.
So we make, and everything I make is exactly how we used to make it when Boris made them back in the 80s. We took my old 80s bikes, National Pros, that I had 24-inch, and made a jig out of it. Tom did. Same thing with a 20-inch. We make pit bikes now, which are 16-inch, which we never made. We make 26-inch bikes, which my dad had never made or wore for us, at least under National Pro, and we make 29s.
Wow. Something for everybody.
Something for everybody. Big, fat, old, short, Yeah, we got and pretty soon we'll come out with training wheels.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap this up. I mean,
This has been an amazing show
for real. The product launches, you unveiled the truth behind the brand, which had to be said, which is awesome. Now everybody can understand
what it's all about.
Yeah.
You have a good Sean, Texas, or Kevin McNeil story for us to end? Something good.
Sean, that was my dad's thing.
Okay.
I was out of the sport from like 80 to 86. I didn't really go to the shop.
It's a good boom in that.
Well, yeah, I know. Number one pros and number one,
Yeah, Kevin won number one pro for you guys. Is that
yeah. Well, that's when, I was, Kevin was just getting on the team, or, that's kind of when I had to hang it up. And the reason why I hung it up wasn't, there was an escape for me to get out. And what happened is, my freshman year, I made the varsity football team at Ganesha. Everybody knows where Ganesha is, in downtown Pomona, with all the brothers. And there was only a few white guys on it, but I made the starting defensive end.
Wow.
And my other buddy was the other strong starting defensive end. He's a year or two older than I am. But at a freshman, made the starting on the varsity team. And come to find out, somebody found out that I got paid to ride a bicycle and sent a letter to the NCAA. I didn't even know that existed, but apparently if you get paid for any other sport, you can't play high school sports. In other words, if I got paid to play backgammon or, ping pong, I couldn't play high school football. You just can't play anything.
So in your career, did you ever go, what was the oldest class you ended up racing? Did you?
14.
14.
Yeah. I raced, I think, one national as a 14-year-old.
So you weren't like AA pro or anything?
No, I wanted to turn pro, but that's when you had to have a driver's license. And that was another thing that discouraged me because, I would race a lot of trophy dashes, I had, Grant, Brian, the big boys in there, you know what I mean? Actually, a picture of New Jersey where I'm in the actual gate on the trophy dash. Tinker's in there, Stewart, Greg, Cornell, I think.
Do you remember, was it Craig here?
I couldn't. I flew in on a red flight. I think that was one of them. But another time in New Jersey, I remember crashing in pro practice because we got to, a couple of us got, the pros wouldn't say anything about us amateurs, in the gate because we were fast enough to keep up with them or at least get to the first turn.
Yeah.
But anyway, I blew my palms out
Oh, sure.
on the first jump. I slipped the pedal and hit it and endoed into the first turn. Well, I had rocks in my palms and they were just ripped out. So I had to duct tape my hands to the handlebars, and I don't know if you can see the duct tape, but I'm on the gate, and I think they're duct taped to my handlebars.
Wow.
Right? And come to find out later, you couldn't do that, but I did.
Okay.
But yeah.
So that was.
The last year then, because you had to have a driver's license, you wanted to turn pro, you couldn't.
No, I don't think that. No, the last year was 80. I think it was temperature down to 80.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
And I didn't like the track. To me, it was like running on cow shit. And that's what it felt. It felt like a sponge.
Yeah.
Because I think it was in like a rodeo arena. or
Yeah,
something.
now it's a university. So Kevin was.
You were out and playing football when Kevin was on.
Right, yeah.
So
I chose to play football instead of do BMX. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's a good run though.
76 to 80, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good glory years right there.
There. 80, 85, 80 to 80 was nice. 80s were good.
Yeah, see, that's whatever. I see
got
all the
huge.
shit, all the legends supposedly are from that day, and I'm like, I
Yes.
don't know who the hell that guy is. You know what I mean? I mean,
No, it's-
legendary, like Stewart, Patterson,
Yeah.
Botima, Toby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Greg
Yeah,
Hill.
yeah.
Number 3, Donnie Anthony. Guys like that. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
One of the reasons I go to Dirty Fifth is you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Glenn Lavosky, you guys are awesome. See you there again this year.
Absolutely.
And no, I got to
Learn a lot that I had questions from even decades
years ago. Well, I never knew throwing a tough neck. How does it? Now we know. So that, and I know the origins.
now I got way more knowledge about the stem. It's great.
I got a T-shirt, which I love. I'll be wearing that on my podcast. So thank you, Will SCURTO. It was awesome.
You're very welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you guys soon.
You guys get out and ride.
You know the drill. Thank you for joining. See you later. Bye.